Alright, I really don't like YouTube's copyright nonsense. So, coming off the heels of the last video, I'm gonna keep it moving here. I've already started 2 new layers here, or 2 new keys, and I'm going to just proceed to work off of these. So, the scene that I need here is, I need an in-between scene for when Guts does a sword draw. Originally the way to start, it's going to start from 364 from the very last panel where you see Griffith, and Griffith's talking about a tear fading or whatever. It's literally the last panel that Kentaro Miura drew, Dr. Kentaro Miura. So what I'm gonna do is, off of the heels of that, I'm going to create a scene that's a close-up of the panel prior to the tear, him speaking about the tear, where Guts has a surprised face, and then it's gonna go over into the teardrop scene, just as a, like, it's like a reveal. It's like, hey, Berserk is starting. A Berserk animation is starting, and guess what? It's starting from the last issue, and that's gonna be like my surprise for people who aren't following the development here. And then after he gets done talking about the teardrop, it's going to be Guts, which is the scene I'm doing now. Guts drawing his weapon. So I need to animate his hand, or rather him putting his hand on his weapon, and then him drawing his weapon. So I think I'll start something like this. I could do a 1 full frame, and then I could zoom in, because ultimately I wanna pan around or spin the scene around, so that it's no longer on Guts's back, but it's gonna spin from Guts's back with the sword draw to the side where Guts is on the left and Griffith is on the right, and it's gonna show Guts slamming his sword into the ground, like just the end of his sword into the ground to, like, as a stance to, like, stabilize it so that he can think. So I'll just get to it. So first thing I'm gonna need, I have music playing in the background. It's just I don't think the system can hear it, or rather my microphone can hear it. But I have like some type of white noise playing in the background for me. So for the weapon draw, what I was thinking was to do the whole, or rather just do the scene where his hand is landing on the Dragon Slayer. Since we're gonna be extremely close, I need a thick line here. I'm gonna do. Oh, another thing I noticed, the Dragon Slayer in the first scene where he has a surprised face, I put the Dragon Slayer on Guts' back. I drew that in post, in between development videos. But I noticed I leaned the Dragon Slayer towards the direction of the wind, because the wind is actually blowing hard enough to blow his cloak, and I want his weapon to lean in that direction too. I know that Guts, by default, his weapon actually it's diagonal and it's angled up to his right shoulder, but for me specifically it's going to his left just because of the wind, which I'm going to indicate here when I draw it out. But for this scene, it's just going to be a simple, don't worry, this line does not need to be long. It's going to be a rather straight. It's going to be the simply the Dragon Slayer hilt here, and then uh, think about the angle here. It's gonna be from a top angle. I question the thickness of this line too. Let's turn it down to 4. Okay, that's not enough art. That perfection is coming out. All right, so it's got the arc. I'm gonna bump it back up to 10. Well, 9, 8, 9, whatever. Let's do 9. Bump it back up to 9, and then it's going to This is the outer part of the Dragon Slayer here, just so I can get a good idea for what I'm really shooting for. It'll make sense when it's complete. Not even when it's complete, it'll start making sense to you pretty soon if you're not sure what you're looking at. Okay? Ugh, that line looks awful. Straight down. Let's do straight down from here. Alright. I have to do the little idiosyncrasies or the little indentations inside of the Dragon Slayer here. Such as this. Which is crazy because I'm going to end up covering this up. Just doing it just because, I guess. Then it goes in like this. Oh boy. Art Class 101 coming back to me. And okay. Bump this back down to 504. Put a line here. Ugh. That was a mistake. Okay. Okay. And this, oops, that's to show the protrusion of the outer part of the hilt, which is very important, by the way. Because Guts' sword isn't just one straight line or whatever. I think this should be angled down. Okay. Then the line going straight across the top here. Oof. Actually, it doesn't matter. Yeah, it's fine like this. Alright, so we have that. The Dragon Slayer has a loop on the hilt, right? But the kicker is the loop is going to be towards the body. His body's actually on this side. Since it's going to be angled, it's actually angled more diagonally. His head is going to be over here. So that gives me a luxury of finishing off the bands here. Okay. What's crazy is this isn't even the part that'll be animated. This will be animated, but this isn't the meat of the animation, which I'm about to showcase here. I'm gonna put that up above main too, because it'll get it when I get to it. Alright, so there's a Dragon Slayer. Remember, it's leaning in another direction because of the wind, which means the opening is over here, which means actually majority of this will be covered by cloak. His cloak's gonna droop over, and only this will be really exposed, just for like no future reference, because the wind is blowing this way. It's actually going in this direction. So everything animation wise, because there's a dangling piece of the cloth that hangs here that I'll have to animate later. But right now the focus is the making the hand properly hit the weapon as a proper weapon draw, which is why I put this on the top layer, because this is actually the closest thing to the screen. So moving along here, I have to do well for starters. We'll have to do the back of his armor. Actually, I can use the other layer for this. So this layer is going to be guts, and I do it in this manner because I might want to I might want to knock the Dragon Slayer over. Actually, there's a break on his neck. I totally forgot about that. There's a break. So it's gonna be tricky. I'll do this. Yeah, there's totally a break. Okay. Well, like in the lines of that. Don't worry about this line here being fat or whatever. So I'll just do that to it. Use that. I call it shortcut cross hatching, but sometimes I'll just make a thick line and then slice through it to simulate or emulate cross hatching. Okay, so that's one part for the neck. Here's the other part here. And again, it'll make sense to you pretty soon if you're not sure or you're not tracking exactly what I'm doing here. It'll all come together for you. Oh, excuse me. Okay. It's too much. Better. Not too concerned with this part, only because I still have to go back in and do the cloak. His cloak is gonna cover up pretty much all of this. Not all of it, but most of it. And the cloak is the thing I have to animate. So I'm gonna have to do it on a totally separate layer. So now that's out the way, I'm gonna bump it up to 15, and I'm going to, with the armor here, since I have the essentially his frame. I have his frame down. I'm gonna do basically, the back of his neck. It's gonna be a very thick line, of course, for Guts, for his head. Okay. All right. Big thick lines. So we have the back of his neck. And I remember to keep it basically to keep it thick. Also his jaw. I'm gonna have to chunk his jaw in here. So I'm gonna have to do some erasing here. Just do some cleaning work ahead of time, just because it'll confuse me with all the ink. So what I'll do here, since I have basically the gist of what's right here, is I'll just clear this out like so. This stays because this is actually the outer um, portion of the jaw of the armor, or the collar or jaw. They're both pretty much the same thing, but you get what I'm saying. This I can clean out like so, and I actually can do a little more. I want to space though, because I can already feel it. I don't think I made his neck thick enough, so I'm gonna have to thicken that bad boy up. Okay. Okay. Alright. Like this. For his neck. His neck could actually be like further back. Let me, not further back, but at a different arc. At a better arc. Which I'll showcase here. I had on 10, I think. Pretty sure it was 10. Or was it 15? I think it was 15. Not a big deal. Do his neck like that. See? Okay. So for the back of his neck, I'm gonna just simply put a line here. I know there's musculature or whatever going on. Got his cranium. All of this is supposed to be his cranium. So I made a mistake. Like you do. It should be more like this. Do a big eraser here. Save me some headache. Okay. Bump back down to 10. Let's do what do you have? The back of the ear. Okay. Guts has a bit of a point on his ears. His ears are kind of elfy. Okay. All right. It's a little janky looking. Let's slightly better. All right. So we got. It's gonna be more hair. Yeah, it's gonna be more hair there. Then you're gonna have his actual face shining through there. And that should be it for the the back of his head. Okay. Because his hair is actually slicked back to an extent. Okay. All right. And yes, this is actually the process I go through. Really, for a first design or a scene from scratch, this is actually the process. All right. Okay. One thing I learned with Dr. Miura is with his art style specifically is the more you suffer and the more tedium and detail you apply to the art, the closer it's gonna be to his vision. So I always try to do things, take the time out to do things by the book. Try to do things right the first time. Another awesome thing about me as an artist too is I learn the first time, so there's no repeat mistakes. And also I keep in mind things that I do in previous videos. So most of the time I don't even go back for tweaking. of certain things. Okay, cross hatching is kind of Dr. Miura's thing. Guy's a beast with the cross hatching, among other techniques he uses actually. But for me, the most prominent is his his cross hatch ability. It's what stood out or stands out to me. Okay, so there's the back of Guts' neck. I know I could go ham with the line work or whatever, but it's not necessary right now. Okay, let's get a little more detail for the back of the ear here. Okay, so we got the hair. We etched out the back of the neck here. All of this is out of the camera. We got the weapon here. I know the light source. The light source is actually from the left side, or the direction that the wind blows. So I can do this while I'm here. Wow, there's my recording window is in the way. I can't see right there. Alright. I legit can't right up towards the top of the hilt. I really can't draw anything right there. I have a recording window. It's a little pop-up that's in the way. A little butthurt about that. Kinda wanna edit that now, but it's not a biggie. I can do it later. Okay. And this is going against the direction of the light. It wasn't smart. Let's do that again. Alright, that's fine. Alright. Naturally, this is because this is closer to the top. Always do this. A little bit of cross hatching. Because the bulb or the end of the bar or the handle for the weapon is up here. So I usually just put a little bit of shading. So I'm going to animate his hand moving back from here because he always grabs his weapon. Fun fact, he always grabs his weapon or unsheaths his weapon with his actual hand. He never uses that prosthetic arm to draw his weapon because that's not what it's not the purpose of that thing. Surprisingly, most people don't know that. Like, oh, guts can fight with either hand. No, no, that prosthetic or that fake hand that he has, it's more of a weapon. He uses it to fire his cannon, to connect and shoot his arrows. He uses it as a literally as a weapon. Um, the only to caveat that the only function that that hand serves outside of being like a utility weapon is it's magnetic. So he uses it because he only uses it for the purposes of balancing a dragon slayer as he swings it with two hands. But all of the times where he one hands the dragon slayer, like ever, even when he holds it on his shoulder in his iconic pose, he always does that with his actual hand. This is just a fun fact. Most people legit don't know that. Cause you assume his hand is made of the hand is made of iron, the fake hand. So you would assume that would be the hand he uses, right? To hold the weapon. But it's not true. That hand's actually very weak compared to his to his real hand. It's a very weak prosthetic hand. outside of when it's like shooting cannons out of it, or doing long range stuff, piercing stuff with arrows or whatever. Yeah, surprisingly, most people don't know that though. I was shocked when I found it out years ago. You'd be surprised at how I found it out. I just figured it out. Guts never uses in any panel. He never uses that hand for any one hand um tactics or swings. It's just not a thing. Dum, dum. I don't know if you guys can hear the music. I hope not, because I'm tired of YouTube trying to copyright my videos for nothing. You can't. That's crazy too. You can't play a song on your video without YouTube copyrighting it. It's pretty insane. YouTube's annoying with that. Sure, there's a stipulation behind that too. I think when you get like you get your video copyrighted or whatever. I think if you try to like monetize your hard work, they actually give whatever the video makes to the person that that the copyrighted material might be of or from. Right now I'm just doing a lot of cross hatching here. Alright. Ooh, that's a little messy, huh? It's not a big deal. I don't need it to be perfect, but that does agitate me when I'm doing cross hatching and it's slightly off. Like this bothers me. You know what? It's actually fine too, because it's a metal object. Little imperfections and stuff are you know they're in line. Okay, and this is just the shadow from the hilt or whatever. So we have the light. The light is hitting from this direction. The wind is blowing in this direction, which helps me out with the shading process here. Again, when it comes to Dr. Miura, the more detail you manage to plug, the better the piece, or the more accurate the piece will be. So I never stray from putting a little bit of hard work into the cross hatching or the line work, because this will pay off. It'll pay off. Just as a heads up, so that I don't shock you, so that none of you guys have a heart attack when you see the finished product, or just even a trailer or whatever I make showcasing this art so far. Um, it's modern. Don't let the previous videos fool you. I know the colors were very dull and it looks very retro. It's not. It's very modern. There's a lot of bells and whistles I add in post production, which harks back to that spiel I had in one of my previous videos when I was saying the awesome thing about an artist is, well, first, an artist can read your mind if you tell them enough, but the changes an artist makes, there's nothing more creative or beautiful than an artist's mind, because we can change things at a drop of a dime. And I went back and I tweaked a lot. It is far more accurate to Miura's work. If you get the hint there, you know what? You know what I do to make my work look more like Miura's. So I'll let you guess on what I did when it comes to that. Man, the time flew. Jeez, I barely have enough for a thumbnail here. That's crazy. It's been about 30 minutes. Try not to drag videos out past 30 minutes. Simply because I have to upload it. I hate waiting for long uploads to complete. I'm sure I have videos over 30 minutes, but it is not on purpose. It's never on purpose, actually. Okay. Might have to create a thumbie here just for this. But again, this is just a simple scene of Guts drawing his weapon after seeing Griffith in place of the Moonlight Boy. It's right when he sees him after the scene where Costco wakes up. He's gonna grab his Dragon Slayer here and then draw it. I have to keep in mind there's a lot more going on here that I need to put on here. Like for instance, his cloak. He's got a droopy or a cloak drooping over the weapon too, in this fashion. So it'll be about right here, like so, like that, just to give me a Actually, this works too. It's for the future. I'm sorry, I'm trying not to make this video more than 30 minutes, but kind of engrossed in the art here. Plus, the more I get done, the better the thumbnail will look. Thumbnail is kind of important too. So, yeah, I did that correctly. Because originally the Dragon Slayer is angled this way, towards Guts' right shoulder. But I had it specifically angled towards the left because the wind is blowing over here. Or on the top, the northwest corner of the screen. So there's a definite method to my madness. So to fix that or alleviate it looking awkward, the cape is actually just drooped over the left side of the weapon with the right exposed. To let you know it's supposed to dangle in this direction. It's just being blown a little bit. But yeah, this is just a quick little bit of ink work that I've knocked out for the first part of this new scene I'm making, which is gonna be a weapon draw. For the next part, I'm going to for the next video, I'm going to do Guts' hand coming just simply swinging back and slamming into the side of the sword for the draw. And that's it. God bless.